Late at night in a small Midwestern town, a shadow creeps up to open bedroom windows, spraying an unknown toxic gas that leaves victims paralyzed in their beds, and not even state investigators can stop the panic. The year is 1944. World War II is raging overseas, and the quiet manufacturing town of Mattoon, Illinois is operating on high alert. The local factories are running day and night producing defense materials while the town's homes are filled with women, children, and elderly residents whose young men are fighting across the Pacific. In the stifling August heat, families sleep with their windows wide open, relying on the night breeze to cut through the humidity. It's an atmosphere defined by lingering tension and wartime exhaustion. But on the night of September 1st, that quiet routine was shattered by an invisible predator. An unknown assailant began creeping up to residential windows, unleashing a sickly sweet vapor that induced violent nausea and temporary paralysis. What followed was 12 frantic days of phantom attacks, armed vigilante patrols, and a wave of terror that drew the attention of the FBI and chemical weapons experts across the nation. It began on a quiet Friday evening at the home of Aline Kearney. While lying in bed, she smelled a strange, sweet odor coming from her open bedroom window. Within seconds, her lips burned, her throat constricted, and her legs became completely paralyzed from the hips down. Her husband, returning home late from his shift, spotted a tall, dark figure in a cap fleeing the property. Over the next weeks, the attacks escalated rapidly. Reports poured into the police station from all over Mattoon. Victims described hearing a faint, mechanical hissing outside of their homes, followed by a sweet, metallic smell that left them coughing, dizzy, and unable to move for hours. Panic gripped the city. Local police chief C.E. Cole ordered round-the-clock patrols, but the attacker seemed completely untraceable, leaving no footprints, no chemical canisters, and no physical evidence whatsoever. The next year, the state of Illinois establishes new protocol standards for evaluating chemical contamination reports during civil emergencies. 10 years later, psychologists and criminologists codify the Mattoon outbreak as a textbook case of mass psychogenic illness fueled by wartime anxiety. Every decade, the military and federal law enforcement agencies refine their response models for urban chemical threats, balancing public safety warnings against the danger of widespread public panic. As the number of reported incidents surged past 24, Mattoon descended into near chaos. Armed groups of citizens formed vigilante posses, patrolling the streets with shotguns and hunting rifles, occasionally firing at shadows in alleyways. The situation grew so critical that state police detectives and scientific experts were called in to evaluate the scene. Chemical testing on the Kearney family's bedsheets revealed no known toxic residue. And furthermore, toxicology reports failed to identify any chemical compound available in 1944 that could cause instant temporary leg paralysis simply through a waft of air through a window, only to leave the victim entirely unharmed hours later. Investigators were left facing a stark divide. Were they hunting a brilliant amateur chemist with an unknown weapon, or were they tracking a phantom created by community fear? But what if the state investigators had discovered physical proof or a deliberate chemical attacker in Mattoon? What if a suspect had been caught with an industrial spray apparatus and a toxic formula? Without the conclusion that Mattoon was a case of mass hysteria, the entire psychological framework used by modern law enforcement to analyze mass panic would be flipped on its head. Instead of attributing sudden health scares to psychogenic factors, federal agency would treat every localized outbreak as a potential covert chemical attack, drastically altering how modern industrial accidents and chemical leaks are handled across the country. And what about you? If you were investigating the town of Mattoon in September 1944, would you have concluded that a phantom gas attacker was on the loose, or that the town was suffering from collective wartime hysteria? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you would like to explore more of these ripples in history and in life, please hit subscribe and join me on the Ripple Trace.